And you know what? Kirstjen Nielsen tweeted out last night that ridiculous tweet that we were not having this policy. But on May 10th, in an interview with NPR, she talked about the policy and said how great it was and how she was going to implement it. So she's either a liar or suffering from severe mental or memory loss. And we talk about how President Trump wants to make America strong and great again. Our greatness and our strength comes from our morality and our compassion. And this administration is absolutely devoid of it. It is absolutely infuriating.
But Evan, I'm willing to say, let's take out morality and compassion. Put your Republican business hat on for a moment. From a fiscal perspective, how does this make money for, how is this good for our country? What jobs does it bring back? How does it help our budget? Put that hat on. If I said, listen, morality shouldn't matter. This is the right thing to do for the American people. How is it the right thing? How does this help America?
I don't put my hat on from a fiscal perspective. I put my hat on from a moral perspective. Anthony Scaramucci this morning was saying, well, the president will probably reverse because it's just bad optics. Not bad optics. Mooch, he was in the White House for 11 days, and I know he wants to become the next James Carville, but that doesn't qualify him to recognize or fail to recognize that it's bad morality. It shows us to be an uncompassionate and immoral people, and it also sends a terrible signal to the rest of the world. Not to mention the incalculable damage emotionally that we are doing to these children. You had the President Colleen Kraft of the American Society for Pediatrics, who visited one of these facilities and asked why a crying child wasn't being stopped and held, and they said, we can't touch her because we're not allowed to due to laws. We had the AP reporting that a 16-year-old girl who was detained was the one changing the diapers because none of the people in the facility were allowed to. There are no toys, and actually when kids were playing together, they were told to stop and just sit there. That's not morality, that's prison for children who have done nothing wrong.
In February, the president said border crossings are down 80%. Pat me on the back. That was reiterated by Mike Pence, I want to say in April. Then just a few weeks ago, the RNC said, when are Democrats going to help us with this border problem? A week later, they said, look, things are going really well at the border. Yes, things are up. Kirstjen Nielsen said 200% this time, this year, than they were last year. But overall, look at the last decade, we're going down, down, down. So as far as crises that we need to address, if I was someone in America who said, save me, I might say, save us from the opioid crisis. Where exactly is the migrant crisis?
Well, I'm an immigration hawk, but I also believe in morality and compassion. And the president and his team have some sort of fixation on the southern border. They ignore the fact that 42% of all illegal immigrants in the United States came here legally and just overstayed their visas, and they aren't being rounded up and taken out. It's the southern border that's the real threat. And then on top of that,
and many come in the spring because that's when farm jobs are.
And 2/3 of illegal immigrants who have come to the country since 2014 came in legally and just overstayed their visas. We have not addressed that whatsoever. Trump is fixated on a wall which will never be built because of eminent domain, and we are just having this kabuki dance that just makes his base feel good and outrages everybody else.